on Saturday against the Blazers. He's currently under quarantine and needs to produce negative tests for 4 straight days to get back on the court. Now, testing began on Tuesday. Harden violated the NBA's COVID protocols by attending an indoor party without wearing a mask. And in addition to Harden, 7 other Rockets were sidelined for Houston's opener yesterday against OKC. That was postponed, leaving the team 1 short of the minimum 8 players who must be available to play. That included John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, who were out due to contact tracing. 7 of the 8 players were unavailable because of these COVID-19 related issues. Earlier today on The Jump, Rachel Nichols spoke to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver about Harden's situation.
You guys decided to fine him $50,000 for violating COVID protocols earlier this week. Above and beyond that, you guys could have decided to suspend him. Why fine instead of suspend?
The precedent is that discipline gets ratcheted up, and it's Christmas. It was a first offense. Frankly, to your point, the $50,000 is the limit of my authority under the collective bargaining agreement. And what would have happened? I mean, in a way, he got lucky, because if the game had taken place last night as scheduled and he were unavailable because of his own actions, he would have missed a game and a paycheck. And so it would have, in practice, and ultimately have turned out to be a much larger sanction.
Adrian Wojnarowski now joins us. Woj, let's start with Harden and how the league determined this course of action that could get Harden back on the court on Saturday. Break that down for us.
Well, Adam Silver spelled it out there with Rachel Nichols. Number one, he treated it like a first offense, and I guess there was some empathy for the holiday. But when you talk to people around in the league, there was a sense too that, listen, the NBA does not want the Rockets to be in another position Saturday night in Portland where they're perhaps not having enough players to play against the Blazers or again on Monday. And this is an organization that has been reeling with the James Harden trade request, the positive tests. And, there's still an organization right now that's trying to get Boogie Cousins and John Wall back on the court. But as much as it was a break for James Harden, this was a break for the Rockets organization, that wants to get some footing with a new GM, a new head coach, and get James Harden back on the floor amid, what's been a very turbulent preseason, early season for them.
You talk about the organization reeling. I mean, what do they have to do as a team right here in order to play on Saturday against Portland with or without Harden?
Yeah, they need, right now in contact tracing and the testing that John Wall's undergoing, DeMarcus Cousins is undergoing. Ben McLemore tested positive, we are told. They're waiting for him to be able to come back and play again. But the Rockets want to be able to get on a plane to Portland and for that Portland-Denver trip and have Cousins and Wall ready to go. There's a protocol in place for that, just like Harden right now has to sit until Friday. So you're losing practice time. You're losing a chance to get some cohesion with this group. And, the Rockets very much just want to get James Harden in that backcourt with John Wall and see if they can get a little traction with this team as they start the season out with a new head coach, Stephen Silas.
Well, the news cycle just doesn't seem to end for this Houston squad as this year starts off. Woj, thank you and happy holidays. So after Wednesday's postponement, the Rockets are scheduled to start their season again in Portland on Saturday. Again, that is if they can get the requisite 8 healthy players. The team has a quick turnaround with a trip to Denver on Monday. Then it's back to Houston for 2 straight games against the Kings and 1 against the Mavericks. Brian Windhorst joining us now to break it all down. Listen, Jason Tatum, he got that bank shot, the go-ahead shot, the eventual winner. He got all the hype. But we can't overlook Giannis and that missed free throw with 0.4 seconds left. What did you see from Giannis last night?
Yeah, well, they both threw up bricks, but Tatum's went in, and that's the difference in the game. And as bad as that was for ending of Giannis, he was actually pretty excited at the end of last night. And the reason why is because he played 36 minutes. Now, in the offseason, he went to the front office and not only talked about roster changes before signing his big extension, but he wanted to play more minutes during the regular season to get ready for the playoffs Last year, he averaged 30 minutes a game and won the MVP, but this looks like the new standard, 36 minutes a night, more Giannis, more stats. Milwaukee hopes better preparation for the playoffs.
Yeah, big expectations for Giannis, big expectations for the Sixers this year, too. They beat Russell Westbrook and the Wizards in his debut. What did you take away from that contest?
This was the kind of game that Joel Embiid has been wanting for a long time. They were behind going into the fourth quarter. They cleared out the floor with shooters, and they just fed him the ball over and over and over. At one point, they went to him on 5 consecutive possessions on the left block. He scored 15 points in the fourth quarter of his 29. That's the way Joel Embiid wants to play. He tried to get that through to the previous coaching staff. And when it mattered, they did run a play at the end of the game for Ben Simmons. But this is, the new regime in Philly has been focused on Joel Embiid from the start, and right out of the gate, they focus on him at the end of the game.
Yeah, dominant in that contest, 29 points, 14 rebounds. And aside from Houston and OKC and that game being postponed, each team in the league has played one game, but not every team has had the same approach. How so?
Yeah, when you watch these teams, just with the unusual nature of the start of this season, different teams are on different tracks. And the teams that have prioritized getting off to a fast start are very clear. The New Orleans Pelicans with a terrific win in Tampa last night. Stan Van Gundy went through rigorous practices leading up to the start of the season. He played Zion Williamson over 30 minutes a game in their preseason games, and it showed. They were sharp and ready to go and had a great fourth quarter, shooting the ball very well and winning this game, and that's a big factor. Also, the LA Clippers, completely different team from a year ago, going all out right from the start. We've seen Kawhi Leonard playing the first quarter and Paul George playing the fourth quarter like they should have been playing the playoffs last year. Not at all the way they started last season.
Are the Celtics the new beast of the East? Giannis had 18 in the fourth quarter during that comeback of Wednesday night's season opener, last night's season opener against the Celtics at TD Garden. But the two-time most valuable player, he's the reigning and defending consecutive MVP of the NBA, at least in the regular season, wasn't thinking about that after the game. He was thinking about the point he didn't score because he hits that free throw, they go into overtime. By the way, I felt that he should not have been on the line. I thought that was a goaltend. And therefore the point should have counted and they should have already been in overtime, right? But they weren't. He had to ice the free throws and he missed. He said after the game, because he missed the second free throw with 0.4 seconds remaining, would have put him in OT. I'm upset about it. Finished with 35 and 13 in 36 minutes, by the way. Last year, Giannis, I'm rounding up, and I'm doing it off the top of my head, but I think it was 30, 13, and like 6 with a block and a steal a game or something like that. Like, by the way, in 30 minutes a game, 35 and 13 in 36 minutes last night, his first game since signing his 5-year Supermax contract with Milwaukee earlier this month. But you can't change it, so it's done. Hopefully, when I'm in the same position, I can make the next one. That's the mentality you've got to have. I'm a winner, and I want to do whatever it takes for my team to win. But, you know, you learn from every situation that basketball puts you in. What happened on that final sequence on the missed free throws? Giannis, let's hear you say the things I just said.
And then I told you, just throw the ball high. Throw it high and try to go get it. We have 0.4 seconds. Just if you don't see if Chris is not wide open, if Dante's not wide open, I think, no, not that. Pat's not wide open. Just throw the ball high and try to go get it. Fouled him, made the first one, missed the second one. You know, that was it.
That was it. By the way, Tatum hit the game-winning shot. It's not like he called glass. You know, stop it. A nice step back. Tatum is a dangerous offensive player. But they were a little lucky, the Celtics, to win that game. And they had a big lead, and the Bucks came back on them. But the story of the game was actually the Celtics. That's the headline from the game. And who on the Celtics was the headline? Jaylen Brown. Because Jaylen Brown, it turns out, may be just about as good as Jason Tatum. And the truth is, that's been the case for a couple of years, but we all saw in Tatum more upside. We saw a more polished overall offensive game. And so we thought, yeah, they're 1A and 1B, but Tatum's going to start to put distance between himself and Jaylen. That has not happened. It's not because Tatum hasn't developed. He has. Jaylen Brown's just that good. Boy, he is. Perkins was talking about it on First Take today. When you talk about the elite two-way wings in the NBA, where's Jaylen Brown fit in? Now you think about, like, the team totally differently. No Kemba for a while this season, and when he comes back, who knows what you have. No Gordon Hayward, right? But you bring in Tristan Thompson, some size, can play. Marcus Smart is a beast when it counts, especially. And the main thing is you have two wings who are elite, right? If Jaylen Brown keeps this up, yeah, the Celtics are deep. Tice or however you're supposed to say his name. Pronounce all these German names. Maxi Kleber is somehow Kleba. and I should know how to pronounce it better because I speak some Yiddish, so like I should understand. But Tice, okay, whatever you say. I don't know if it was spelled T-I-C-E. In America, I would get Tice, but it's spelled Theus, but it's called Tice. Okay. But he's good. By the way, the Celtics have above average minimum at every position, and they have depth, and they have coaching. They're really, really good. They were lucky to beat the Bucks last night. Let's be honest. They were lucky to beat them. They were lucky to hit the game winner. They were lucky. And by the way, they built a big lead. Giannis went nuts. There was nothing they could do. They got lucky on Tatum's shot. They got lucky on the non-goaltend call that should have been a goaltend, I guess because they called the foul before that. And they got lucky that Giannis missed the free throw and that they didn't get the rebound, right? A lot of luck for the Celtics to barely beat the Bucks. But the East is a beast nowadays, period. The Bucks, the Celtics, the Sixers. Did you see, by the way, that was Straight Talk Wireless, everything for less, only at Walmart. Did you see this dude, Tyrese Maxey? How many minutes did he play last night for the Sixers? Because he was picked in 20-something. He should have been a lottery pick, no doubt. He didn't even play that much. But this dude is a baller, a baller. By the way, bad for James Harden, because if I'm the Nets, I'm not sacrificing that depth for James Harden. When I have unselfish players who can go get their own shot like Dinwiddie or Karis LeVert, but are willing to either come off the bench or not over-dribble and give up the ball for the two superstars, I'm not messing with that for James Harden, who doesn't have chemistry with Chris Paul, doesn't have, gets his own guy in there, and Westbrook, his boy, and they don't have chemistry on court, even his boy. And now he wants out, and he's 32 years old, and he's a ball stopper. I don't want that if I'm the Nets. And if I'm the Sixers, I'm not giving up Ben Simmons after the way I saw KD play. I need a defense on KD. Who else can defend him? Like, no one's going to really stop him one-on-one. But the best dude available is going to be Ben Simmons. I'm not giving that up if that's the team I have to face. You see when they surrounded Embiid with shooters, by the way, and played 5 out? Or at least Embiid, running kind of like point center. Ooh, that's tough. But this dude, Maxey, is a baller. And Shake Milton is showing you that last year was not a fluke. He can actually ball. Sixers are going to be a problem. And by the way, yeah, look, Seth Curry stunk, and Danny Green's old. He doesn't move on defense the way he used to. But Danny Green, if he has the worst year of his career, what's he going to shoot, 35% from 3? And at least have a physical presence on defense? And